Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast with Phil Graham. We help you master Facebook ads and give you an unfair advantage over your competition. Are you ready? Let's go.
What's up, podcast family? Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast, episode 422. I'm Phil Graham. Today, I want to share 5 ways to help you make your Facebook and Instagram ads look more native and less like ads. You know, today's audiences and people are really blind to ads in a lot of cases because they see them all the time. And so much of the time, it just screams sales pitch. It screams ad. And so people don't even pay attention. It's like billboards. You know, maybe you're one of the few that actually pay attention and read a billboard when you're driving. Most people don't. They might as well not even be there. But when you create ads that look and feel native, that almost look like somebody could have posted that to their profile, it's like real content. It gives people much more of a reason to stop and pay attention and engage with your content and with your ads. So today I'm going to be sharing 5 things you can do to help your ads look more native and less like ads. Before we jump into that, if you guys are looking for some help with your marketing, whether it's your ads or your AI strategy with your marketing or anything else like that, I believe there's 2 ways you can go. One way you can go is to have it done for you. People like me can run ads for you and take care of all of that. So that's one option. Or the other option is me teaching you through consulting and coaching how to do that yourself. So for either one of those things, if that sounds interesting, just go to my website, philgrahamdigital.com, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital, and I would love to connect with you. So let's dive right in and talk about 5 things you can do to try and help your ads look more native and less like ads. And strategy number 1 is to use real user-generated content whenever possible from your customers, your clients, or even your audience. Typically, when you get something from people like that, it's not going to be a professional marketing video, and it's going to look very native, look like something they might even post. There are exceptions, of course, but that can be a great way to go. So one of the things I would say is to ask your customers if they would be willing to shoot a 15 or 30 or 45-second video clip talking about your product or your service and their experiences with it. Sometimes you're going to get good stuff. Other times people are not that great on camera. But even in those situations, somebody that might not be great on camera might actually perform really well because they're relatable. So that could be a great opportunity. Now, if you're creating content yourself instead of or in addition to user-generated stuff, I recommend just using your smartphone. There's a lot of people that will pay for these crazy professional cameras and professional videographers to shoot videos. And time again, I see just regular iPhones and smartphone videos outperform those. Now, it doesn't happen every time, but more often than not, unless you're creating an ad for the Super Bowl, I'm going to recommend you just grab your phone and do a relatable ad. I've got a funny story. I was actually working with a client and she was in her kitchen doing a video ad, and her dog jumped up on the counter behind her. It distracted her. She kind of messed up what she was saying for a second, and then she picked it right back up and kept going. And she actually wanted to do it all over or edit all that out and try and delete that. And I was like, no, we should leave that in there. Like, this is real life. This is completely normal and people will relate to that. It was actually funny and you kept going. And we ended up running that and it did really well. So obviously you don't want to purposely mess up. You do want to have great content in terms of what you're saying, good lighting and good audio quality, but just use your phone and don't strive for perfection. And there's a good chance that that will do better than so-called perfect marketing videos that just scream ad. Strategy number 2 is to try and match the language of the platform that you're advertising on. So every platform, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google, TikTok, Pinterest, etc., has its own type of ecosphere and slang that's used and emojis and phrasing and things like that. Now, you don't want it to be a clone and just copy everybody, but if there is certain things that are pretty consistent within a platform, then trying to embed some of that into your ads can help it look less like an ad and more like a normal post. One tip for you guys is to look at any of your previous ads or even your posts, even if they weren't ads, and look at what people say in the comments, how they phrase things. Look for any consistencies. And you might use some of that wording in your next video ad, and that's something that could be very interesting to test. Strategy number 3 is to test an ad that's formatted more like a regular post versus an ad. So no clickbait, calls to action, no hard sales. Don't start with that. Instead, think about maybe asking a question in your ad, which is something I generally love to do anyway, because it can do really well. But you could ask a question, you could share a thought, and then you could add some value. Think of something that you would post organically that you would be really excited about, some kind of value that you would share, or maybe something you would email to somebody that just is full of value, and try and run that as an ad. Sometimes, not often, but sometimes we will even run some ads without a link to click because we want to give pure value and get awareness and make sure that people, their defenses are not up thinking it's just a spam ad. So I recommend you could also have a link with this too, but just focus on either sharing some inspiration, teaching something, and giving some kind of value without any kind of clickbait, with either no call to action or a very diminished call to action and no hard sales. And that could look a lot more like a post than an ad. It could also give tremendous value. Strategy number 4 would be using native visual cues based off of the platform you're using. So, for example, let's say you're doing an Instagram story ad. Well, you could use story icons and you could use graphics and things in there that people typically use in their stories so it looks natural. If you're on TikTok doing an ad, maybe it's a green screen. Maybe you're working a meme into it or something. There's lots of different ways you can do this. Look at those visual cues on the platforms that you're most interested in, which I would recommend Facebook and Instagram being the best by far, and see if you can work those into some of your ads. And then last but not least, strategy number 5, make sure you are showing either your face or somebody's face, not just logos. There's so many times I'll see a video start playing and it's like a logo for the first 5 seconds. And I know that's just destined to fail. People stop scrolling, not with logos, not with generic crap, but because of other people. And seeing a face can make a big difference. So I would try and make the first frame of your video either your face or somebody else's face, whether it's you or some royalty-free stuff or somebody that works for you, whatever the case may be. Make sure that's the start of your video, and also make sure it's your thumbnail. Because again, if somebody's posting something organically, they're probably not posting logos, are they? They're going to post a video of them. So if you can try that with your video, there's a chance that people might pay attention to that more, and it might really help you get more awareness. So in summary, if your ad looks like an ad, yes, it could still succeed, but a lot of times it may not. But if it looks more like content, if it looks more like value, a lot of times it'll get treated like content and value. And if you can stop the scroll, then you have a much better chance of people paying attention to your product, your service, and your brand. You can give them value, and then you can go from there and try and get them to that next step. So I think these are really important things. I highly recommend you guys test all 5. And as always, just a reminder, it's always important to point out that every business is unique. Results can vary. There's no guaranteed outcomes. So always keep that in mind. Episode 422 is in the books. Thank you guys so much for being here. Next week, we've got a great episode. I'm going to be talking about why your testing with your ads might not be working. It's a really important topic that a lot of people are going to need to hear. Until then, though, I hope you guys have a great week. If you want to get in touch, philgrahamdigital.com is the website, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital, and I will talk to you on next week's episode. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast. Please remember to subscribe and share this with all your friends. For show notes, more tips, and to learn more about Phil, please visit philgrahamdigital.com/podcast.